Welcome to the Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for the Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we're tracking the Zika virus today.
Uh-oh.
It's good that we have the internet to do that with.
Yep.
We're going to be talking about reusable rockets. And a little bit later in the hour with Miss Metaverse, we're going to be discussing the new 5G speeds that will be coming out on our cell phones.
5G.
5G.
Oh, we got what now? We got 4G.
4G.
Now, right?
So
okay.
the G is generation. So third generation, fourth generation. A lot of phones still have 3G on them. You know, the newer ones have 4G. Some have what's called 4LTE.
Yeah.
But soon we'll have 5G, which is promised to be 40 times faster.
Gee.
40 times faster than what we have now. So,
Well, gee.
I know. At the control panel, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire, Mr. Jim Walsh.
Hello.
How's it going today?
Not too bad. Today is kind of a half holiday for me. I didn't have to do the morning show.
Okay.
I got to sleep in until the crack of about 10 a.m.
Cool. And then you're
I am.
here.
And when we're done, I'm going home, go back to bed.
I love these kind of half holidays. No school, of course. My
Yeah.
grandson is sitting next to me today, Mr.
Oh.
Logan Dutenhofer.
Hello, Logan.
So he's joining us
Dude.
in the studio, which is cool because
Yeah.
no school today for them. But of course, you and I have to do a little bit of work. But
No holidays for those of us who provide essential services to the community.
and you know, our show is an essential service.
I like to think so.
So anyway, we're actually going to do something a little different today. Mr. Jim Walsh is going to actually take over the show, and you get to ask fun questions, and I'll try to answer them. And then,
Okay.
Of course, when Katie comes on, we'll talk a little bit about the 5G stuff and maybe the Zika virus and things like that. But I don't know if do you have questions that maybe you've always wanted to have answered about tech and things like that?
Well, I wish you could take a look at my PC. My PC is all glitched up. I'm thinking it's full of malware or something.
Okay. So
It's one of these deals where it takes like a half hour to get boot up and running, and then it periodically stops. And, when the little cursor turns into a circle,
Sure.
it does that about every 10 minutes or so.
So malware is, like adware and that type of thing.
Yeah.
It's, a lot of people refer to them a little bit as viruses too, but there is actually a distinction between viruses and malware.
Okay, yes. That I
Malware
know.
is generally there to try to sell you something.
Right.
Whether it's trying to push you to go to a website or whatever, where viruses actually do malicious things, either to your computer or they want to do malicious things to you, gathering information about your identity and that type of thing.
Well, viruses, I guess, are just there to gum you up.
Yeah,
Kinda
I
mess
guess in
you
a
up.
way, yeah. And, malware,
Yeah.
and you're probably right. I mean, if it's taken a half hour for your computer to boot up, then I'm going to guess that you probably have some malware. You probably have some registry issues as well.
Oh.
So you'll want to get your registry cleaned up too.
Okay.
So there are some programs out there that'll do that, but I usually recommend people who are not knowledgeable in that arena.
And we're not.
You could actually mess up your computer if
Yeah.
you go and start cleaning up things in your registry. So
We're thinking, my wife suggested that we just save out everything and do the old rescue disk.
Sure.
Just flush everything out.
sure, and if you want the best operating computer, that's the best thing to do.
Okay.
But it also takes time, and
Yeah.
a lot of times, you're going to find a program or two that you're reusing that you didn't think about. And you
Right.
have to reinstall that. and
Yeah,
reinstall
Murphy's
such
Law.
as those- Exactly right. So
Inevitably, there's going to be something you forgot to
right,
save.
right. So if you can fix the registry, and what happens in the registry, Jim, is that you install a program,
Right.
and then you remove the program. Okay, and I'm sure you've done this before. I do it all the time. I
Yeah.
don't like the program for whatever reason, so I remove it.
Yeah.
Well, what it does is it leaves, a lot of these programs nowadays will install in the startup, so when you start your computer up, it's there. So you just click
Yeah.
on that little
Oh,
startup thing and it
absolutely.
just starts
Sure.
up, which is cool, except that when you remove it, the remnants of that program are still in the registry. So when you start your computer up, it's trying to start that program.
Oh.
And then it's not there. And then it's trying to start the program.
Yeah.
And it's not there. So it gets in this vicious cycle of the computer doesn't know in the registry that the program doesn't exist. So it gets into this cycle of
Yeah.
trying to do this. Well, if you have 10, 20, 30 of these programs that you've installed and removed,
Sure.
it actually starts to bog down your computer after a while because your computer doesn't stop going through this cycle. It just keeps running, trying to open this program that's not there anymore. So it's good to clean up your registry occasionally to get rid of that.
Now, another thing, when I boot it up, it always gives me a prompt. It says something about one of your I don't know the lingo, but basically it's telling me if you want this part of the software cleaned up, hit enter. Otherwise, it'll do it, and it'll take even longer. I'm sorry. No,
it's okay. I usually tell people to not click on those things.
Oh, do not click on it.
Right, because you might actually have an instance of a malware is going on or something right now that's asking you to click OK. If you click OK, you're actually going to invite the virus to come into your computer.
Okay, well, what it's telling me is that it has to run a scan on something, and that if I want to bypass the scan to hit enter.
I see. Yeah, that might be. So it's like wanting to do a scan on your hard drive or something.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
right.
That might be okay. These pop-ups nowadays are really tricky because a lot of them are pop-ups that are coming across, because you're connected to the internet or whatever, and they come across and they look like official Microsoft or Mac pop-ups or Apple pop-ups, and in fact they're not. And even if you click on the no button or the X out button, the whole graphic is one big yes. So when you click on it anywhere, you're going to invite the virus in. So if you're unsure, we always tell people to do one thing, and that is to unplug your computer.
Okay.
Or power it down. If you're on a laptop,
Yeah.
just hit your button for 3 seconds, your power button, and it'll power it down. If you click on that graphic, if you're unsure, you could actually invite the virus in, and then you have all kinds of other issues going on.
Okay, well, another thing we have, and it's not even a graphic, it's on the DOS thing before it even brings up the Windows.
Okay.
It tells you that.
Okay. So you must have, I bet you got something going on. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to swing it by the shop or something.
That's what I was thinking. I wonder if we should just take it over to the Tech Geeks, the other Tech Geeks.
Yep.
And what does that cost nowadays? Do you have a ballpark figure on that?
We don't
want to blow $1,000 on something.
Oh, no. Most of the repairs that we do in our shop are under $75.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's not bad at all.
There are places in the area, across the country or whatever, that you'll probably spend $300 or $400 with. We're actually pretty reasonable to give us that little plug.
My wife is concerned because the last time this happened, they told us get a new computer.
Sure. Of course. And in fact, a lot of these superstores that offer these services, they make good money on the service, but half of the reason that they offer the service in the store is so that they can sell you additional things.
Get you in there and go, oh, well, you need a new one.
Right. So that's exactly how it goes. So, all right, next question on your
let me see here. So far, I haven't had any major problems with my pad. Well, there is one thing I noticed on my pad.
Okay.
Sometimes with my pad, if I want to play a video that something like on Facebook, it's very herky-jerky. It starts for a couple seconds, and it stops, and it starts and stops again.
Okay.
Is that a problem in the pad, or is that just a issue on their end?
There's all kinds of issues. So what's happening is that the video isn't caching like it should.
Right.
Okay. So it could be, you don't have enough internet speed. Maybe your tablet isn't strong enough to cache and play. My guess is that you have not enough internet speed to bring that in.
Gotcha.
So, you could look at your Wi-Fi to make sure that you got, the proper signal coming through there or whatever. So that's where I would take a look at. So, all right. After the break, everybody, Joe and I will continue our conversation on, I guess, how to fix your computer today.
Yeah, and do computer stuff for dummies.
There you go.
That's me. I mean, I'm not a dummy, but, well, never mind. Don't look at me like that.
I won't.
Right now, 32.
The home for ABC News at the top of the hour is Super Talk 1270.
I guess we're on.
Yeah.
I'm busy here texting. Well, I'm not really texting. I'm just setting up the Meerkat stuff.
Follow the Guru
There we
of
go.
Geek
There
at
she is.
Facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or TheTechRanch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
So, Jim, do you like the autocorrect feature when you're texting?
No.
Sometimes it's great to have it, but I'm trying to type in right now Zika, right?
Yeah.
And it keeps saying Zola, and I've done this 4 times,
Yeah.
and I'm about ready to push send, and then I look, it says Zola again, and it drives me nuts. And I think, you can turn the feature off, but there are times, of course, that it's kind of cool to have it. So yeah, I want to thank everybody across the country and around the world who listen to us on the Blueberry Network, on the Tech Podcast Network. If it's Tech, it's here. We're on the Roku. We're on iTunes. We're on Tuned In. And, of course, our own app, Radio Pup. We're all over the place. And we're also on Blab again today. So if you go to blab.im, you can check us out there. Mr. Brian Reinbold is actually manning the blab.im station there, so you can check us out right there. And Brian actually has a question there, Jim. He's wondering on the Wi-Fi side, is it best to use that when you have it available in the, on your smartphone or your laptop? So my question is, my answer is generally yes with that. However, and this is the big however, if you're doing things that you need to put a password in, or if you're doing banking information or things like that, then you do not want to be on public Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Now, of course, if you're at your home, that's a whole different story, or at your business or whatever. Although at your business, if you have a public Wi-Fi that you're on there as well, and you're in a large company, or even a smaller one, I guess, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's the public Wi-Fi part of it, because if you're on public Wi-Fi, generally there are lots of programs out there that a hacker can just monitor what's going on Wi-Fi. So you can actually type in your password and the other person can see it.
Yeah.
And so a great example of this is when I was at CES last year, and we were doing a broadcast from there, and a fellow journalist,
Sure.
I guess you could say, I don't know how I classify myself yet, talk show host, whatever, was sitting next to me, and he was like, "You're not using the public Wi-Fi in here." And I'm like, "No, we're using our own off of our phone." And I'll get into that in a little bit. And he goes, "Well, watch this." And he pulls up this little program, downloads it from the internet, and we could see, and there's thousands and thousands of people in there, right? And we're watching people as they're logging into their banking accounts,
that's
onto
scary.
all this other stuff. And we were doing this innocently. Imagine the possibilities. And this is a readily available program that you can just download and monitor what's going on Wi-Fi. And people are typing in their passwords and checking their, and that's the thing you do when you're traveling. You're like, especially when you're in Las Vegas, I suppose, the one thing you want to do is, I wonder if I can withdraw a couple $100 from my checking account today. And then
let's go hit the Keno tables. We need some money.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So people were doing this while they were traveling, and we were just sitting there looking at, and we were like, oh my goodness.
Oh,
people really have a lot of trust to this. So
that's freaky.
It is. So what you want to do in those type of situations, if you're doing personal stuff, is that you have the ability on your phone, like I do. A lot of people have this on a smartphone.
I do.
You can turn it into a Wi-Fi hotspot. So when you have that Wi-Fi hotspot turned on, so this becomes your internet.
Let me boot up here. Hang on here. I want to show you. I want you to show me how to do this.
Okay.
Of course, mine is kind of quirky with these the Wi-Fi in this building anyway.
Well, but you have internet on there normally.
Oh, yeah.
So what you're doing is you're taking the internet from your phone and you're making it a Wi-Fi hotspot. Okay.
Okay, it's going to take a couple seconds here. I got the red screen right now.
So that's how that works, So you make a Wi-Fi hotspot with your phone, and then you're secure, and then you link this to your laptop.
Okay.
And then you can use your laptop and make, banking things and that type of thing. Because now you're secured, or on your phone or whatever. If you're going through, your provider's internet, then you have a relatively, much better secure environment than going through a public Wi-Fi. In fact, it's not.
Oh, yeah.
It's significantly better.
Yeah. So here where I work, it's a small company. You think I should be okay, you would think.
Well, but
assuming I can trust everybody who works here.
But this is the thing with that. It's not just so much the people that work here, is that somebody could be in the parking lot out here.
That's right.
Jim.
You're right. You're right, because a couple of weeks ago I was at Barnes & Noble, and I noticed that I'm sitting in the parking lot, and it kicks into the Wi-Fi for the store.
So you don't even have to go in to the building to steal information from the people.
It's not a matter of just looking around and going, well, nobody has a laptop. I'm
safe. It's not. It's about what the reach is of that Wi-Fi, and that's significant more.
So show me. I've got my phone in my hand here.
So you go into settings.
Yeah, I go into settings.
And then if you have a Droid, so you probably have like a More button. That's how I get to mine.
Settings.
So mine has like airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth.
I have airplane. Data usage, mobile network events calling, More.
More, so click on
More. Hit more than the greatest.
And then do you have one that's called mobile network sharing?
Mobile, let me see here. I have mobile hotspot
there
off
you go.
and on.
That's it. So then you just turn that on.
On, okay.
Okay, and then it's going to create a mobile hotspot now that then you can use with your laptop.
Okay, there's a little switch there. Mobile hotspot uses your mobile data connection. Your Wi-Fi connection will be turned off.
That's correct.
Okay, so I hit OK on that.
Yep. And now you do not have if you were linked to your work scenario here, that is now gone.
Now that I've done that, okay, a real Mickey Mouse question here. Now that I've done that, what do I need to do? Am I safe in just bringing up my functions here? Do I have to reclose it and reopening to be protected? Or
so if you're, you can certainly on your phone now still access the internet and that type of thing.
So I can go ahead and hit Facebook and it'll be protected.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're and generally you're protected anyway. It's just that when you have the Wi-Fi mode on, that you're on Wi-Fi in the building now, because you don't want to use up your data plan when you're streaming video and all this other stuff that you're doing. You want to use local Wi-Fi for that because if you have 3 gigs or 4 gigs or 5 gigs a month, a 1 hour or 2 hour video, you are gone. It's just, you've used up all of your data. And
that's our problem at home. We don't have Wi-Fi. Well, there is Wi-Fi available.
Right.
We don't currently have it. We're using the plan.
Right.
And we usually run out about ours flips over about the 8th or 9th of the month, and we usually run out right at the end of the month.
Okay.
So we usually have a week where we go over.
Okay.
So we're talking about getting the Wi-Fi, but in the meantime,
And we'll get into this a little bit later, too. When Katie comes on, we're going to be talking about 5G, so we can really get into what this is going to mean in the future for, our cell phone usage as far as data goes and that type of thing. So, yeah. So, have you been following the Zika virus at all?
Off and on. I have one eye toward the TV when it's on.
Okay.
So, I'm kind of half following it there. I'm aware it's out there.
So, are you thinking that this is going to be the next big scare when it comes to health?
Well, I certainly hope not. I mean, you never really know. And, there's kind of the problem with it is the old boy who cried wolf thing.
Sure.
I mean, there have been so many times when they say this could be the next big thing, and it never is.
Right. The bird flu.
Right.
And, there was some outbreaks here and there, and I think in Asia there was a big outbreak of bird flu, but they were able to contain it. I think the biggest thing with a lot of these outbreaks is that if they get advanced notification, they can really, our medical community. The Center for Disease Control.
Right.
They can get on it pretty quickly and isolate it and really go at it. But I've heard rumors that it's going to take 18 months before they have a vaccine available.
That is a fact. That's not a rumor. It's pretty much a fact. I've heard that on the news.
Okay. So if we're 18 months out from a general vaccine, I guess a person kind of has to be a little bit careful about going out into areas where there's a potential of getting this disease.
Well, if you know your history, you know that about 100 years ago, there was a major worldwide outbreak of some kind of flu happened right after the First World War.
Right.
And millions of people died.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Millions.
It's amazing
worldwide.
How, we haven't had those type of things, but it's because of science and technology.
Well, and again, we kind of take it for granted and we kind of assume, it's taken care of. Well, not necessarily. I mean,
and I think that goes back to immunization as well.
Yeah.
People actually, don't think they need to get immunized and that type of thing because you just don't hear about these things anymore.
Yeah.
So, and then occasionally get these outbreaks. But, yeah, if you go to, there's actually a website, ZikaVirusMap.net. ZikaVirusMap.net.
Yeah.
And it actually shows a map of where the cases have been reported.
Yeah.
And, if you are planning to travel in the near future and you're concerned about this, maybe you should take a look at this map is it pregnant?
Well, there was a story over the weekend I heard in passing where two American women miscarried, and they believe they found a connection between that and the fact that they were overseas and they may have been exposed to the virus.
Okay, interesting. So there's and how about if you and I were to grab the disease? I don't know enough about the disease.
No, me neither.
Maybe we need to do a little more investigation to see if there's a true death risk. I guess if you and I were or adults or children contracted as well, besides just birth defects.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else there is to it. So I apologize for being ignorant about the disease. I just have been hearing a lot about it. And,
I think most folks are kind of in the same boat.
Sure. So maybe next week or something we'll get a little more information about that.
Should.
But again, if you're concerned about the disease, ZikaVirusMap.net, ZikaVirusMap.net.
But the scary thing is, no matter what you do, Marlo, you can get all the inoculations, but sooner or later, nature is going to get one step ahead of you.
That is true.
As George Carlin once said, evolution is slow, smallpox is fast.
He is actually... one of my all-time favorite comics.
Mine too.
I just love George Carlin. Yeah, absolutely. So, so after the break, everybody, we will be talking to Miss Katie Aquino, Miss Metaverse. And we'll be talking about the 5G.
Yeah.
The 5G, as opposed to the 4G that we have now.
Yeah, she's a real-life Judy Jetson, folks.
So, of course, you want to come back for that, and we're going to be talking a lot about how that's going to impact us as we move forward. And, of course, sitting next to me is my cohort today, my grandson, Mr. Logan Dutenhofer.
You got to get the camera on Logan. Why do you have the camera on us?
That's true. That's true. He's absolutely more, I'm trying to think of the right word here.
Yeah.
Probably more photogenic than
more
you and I.
More videogenic,
yeah.
more photogenic, yes.
The two of us combined. All right, everybody, after the break, Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino. So come on back.
Right now, 32.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
We're back to the Tech Ranch. Stream this program now at supertalk1270.com. Here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
So, Jim, have you ever flown a drone before?
Have I ever flown a drone?
Yeah.
No, I've seen them flown.
Okay.
But I've never flown a drone.
Okay.
Alone, with a bone.
Of course, we have Miss Metaverse Katie Aquino joining us as well. Hey, Katie, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Marlo. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, too. So how about you? Have you ever flown a drone before?
Yeah, I have, and it was awesome.
Okay, so what drones have you flown?
It was the Phantom, and then there was like a really tiny one. I forget the name of it. Oh, my goodness. I can't remember. But
Okay.
I got to fly the Phantom before, so that was pretty cool.
That's pretty
and
cool.
it was another one with the iPhone, I remember.
Yeah. So you can sync it to the iPhone. I have the Phantom as well. We haven't actually put it up in the air yet. It's been a little cold here, and well, I won't. That's not the only reason though. I just haven't had a chance to learn it, I guess. So, but sitting next to me is my grandson, Logan Dutenhofer. Logan, how you doing? Good. So, you actually, of the four of us, including Katie, you have more experience than anybody flying drones here. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, well, you do. And I will say I've been out flying with Logan a few times. And how old are you, Logan?
8.
Okay, so you've been out with me a couple times. And generally speaking, you are dramatically better than I am flying drones, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to be so bashful about this. So what do you like about drones? You do realize we're on live radio, Logan. I'm just giving you a bad time there.
Do they make a noise? What
Yeah.
do they sound like? Do they go?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, what do they sound like to you when they're flying?
Loud.
Loud?
Loud.
Okay. They kind of remind me of bees.
Like
Yeah,
that?
kind of that way. Yeah.
Like doodle bugs or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. So are you planning to, as you get older, are you wanting to fly drones more? Are you planning to get into this maybe as a career when you get older?
Yeah.
Really? So what do you like about it? I mean, is it just fun to do, or
Yeah.
okay? Do you like to take video with them? I mean, is that kind of the big deal, or is it just? Are you thinking that? Have you watched the speed racing stuff yet with drones?
No.
Okay, so would you be interested in that though? Sometime just race drones against other people?
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of figured that. So anyway, Katie, I just wanted to get Logan into the mix a little bit here because, you and I probably will fly them a little bit. Jim, you'll probably, as they become available and you can just say, hey, go get my pizza, it'll fly down and get your pizza and you won't have to fly it. I mean, do you have interest in flying them at all?
Yeah, if it'll get my pizza, by all means. They're tooting.
But to actually physically fly them with the remote control
Yeah.
and all that stuff, I mean, do you have interest in doing that?
Yeah, I might a little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I'd have to try it and see.
Okay. You know what? We'll have to do that this spring
Yeah.
sometime. Let's just go out and fly drones someday.
I mean, when I was a kid, I was kind of into the geeky stuff. I was into electric trains, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, cool.
Little slide cars.
It's never too late to get started on this stuff,
Yeah.
I guess. That's the way I always think
Stay
about
young.
it. So that's right. That's absolutely right. So, all right, Katie, I didn't mean to get off track here. I just thought it was, we've never had anybody in the studio that actually has more drone flying experience than Logan sitting here. So it's crazy. He's 8 years old and has more experience than all three of us combined.
So cool. And it's so important, too. I mean, it's a really good skill. Look at that. I mean, drones have only really been out for, a couple years. And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all good skills to have. I think that, Marla, you said it yourself, in the future, I think these are going to come into play just like anything else,
Absolutely. You know, it's we usually go down to a local football field and we'll fly it around there a little bit. And by the time I have mine off the ground, he's flying his through the goalpost and everything else already. So he's pretty good with them, that's for sure.
Now, are there any restrictions locally that we know of as far as going to parks and whatnot to fly these?
As long as you keep under the 400 foot and you're not within 5 miles of an airport, then
Oh,
you're
okay.
You know, and the one I'm thinking of is just kind of right on the edge of town. So, I mean, we're kind of in that country away from other buildings and stuff. So I feel pretty safe.
Well, the airport is not that far away, no matter where you are in town.
That's true. So you have to be kind of careful.
Yeah.
About that. You'd want to be on the north side of town, because if you're on the south side of town in both either Bismarck or Mandan, you'd have a problem staying 5 miles away.
Maybe just drive out in the country a few miles to the north.
That's the way I would handle it, you know, and you know, pick a nice place that if you have to ground your drone or something, that you're not having to hop over fences and that.
Don't get too close to the missile silos. That could be a problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Of course, the nearest one is what? It's over the bridge up by the reservoir, right?
I'm not really sure.
The nearest one I know of is you go past Lake Sakakawea, and about 4 or 5 miles up to the right-hand side, you'll see one.
Right. You know,
That's the nearest one. Turtle Lake, I think, has a couple.
If you're on the main road, but I think there's probably some that are in the country as well that we probably don't even know about.
And these guys in dark suits will come and take you away.
That's true.
They'll shoot down your drone.
No.
Or they'll stick an eagle on
The men in black will come after
you. Is it eagles or hawks that they've been training?
I think it's eagles.
Oh, eagles.
Eagles, yes.
Yeah, for defense mechanisms against drones. That's interesting, too. So, all right, Katie, let's get into 5G. So what are we going to expect with 5G speed?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. What's going on? I mean, we have a lot of different technologies coming out now, everything from virtual reality to autonomous cars, and this is all going to have an effect on the internet. I mean, and robots too. Look at that. I mean, robots, all this stuff, it's all going to be taking up our internet. So there's definitely a concern about how we can get internet speeds up on our, mobile devices and also at home as well. So AT&T recently announced that they are testing their new internet, which is called 5G internet, which is expected to be anywhere from 10 to 100 times faster than today's 4G LTE internet.
That's pretty amazing already, because 4G is actually pretty fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it actually says that it could reduce the latency, which is how long it usually takes for a streaming video to start. It could actually reduce that to 1 to 5 milliseconds. So that's super fast, and that would be really good, because, I mean, I know myself, I'm always trying to check out new news videos and things like that, always watching stuff, and it always takes forever to load, even when you're home on your home internet. So I would love to see faster internet. That would be great. But I hear a lot of this Wi-Fi as well. Are you familiar with Wi-Fi?
Yes. Yeah, but go ahead and explain.
All right, so there is a difference between this 5G internet and Wi-Fi. Both of them are promising to have anywhere up to 100 times faster internet. Now, as far as 5G internet goes, AT&T is already about to perform their field test on their new 5G internet in Austin, Texas. And over there, it is kind of, it's already out, but it's expected to actually become part of our standard by 2020. So that's what we could expect. On the other hand, Wi-Fi isn't like traditional Wi-Fi at all. It actually transmits information through light rather than through radio waves, and that's the difference of Wi-Fi versus Wi-Fi. Through light.
So last year when I was at CES, they actually won my pick of the year at CES, and there was this little French company that was using Wi-Fi. And again, it uses light, everybody. So you could have a bulb. We've talked about this a little bit on the show occasionally.
I think we have.
Yeah. You have a bulb in your office, or, it could be a light bulb that's outside, in a street lamp or something like that. And you could actually, when it's turned on, transmits a signal that you can use to get to the internet or networking. Mm-hmm. So I experimented with this a little bit, and on the dongle that plugs into your laptop, it looks like a little crystal. So it plugs in, and then it's got this little crystal device that's on it, And this crystal changes colors and whatever when it's actually grabbing the internet. And it was so fast. It was, in fact, you're sitting in CES and there's no internet. I mean, you have 150,000 people at one time trying to grab the internet in a building, right? And all of a sudden you're on this Lifi network, and it was like, I mean, it's hard to describe because I couldn't get internet all day long, and all of a sudden I'm on Lifi, and we had instant access to it. So It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So this is, I think, a big technology that is going to come of age in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. It's going to transform everything. I mean, right now, it's exactly what you said. You go to CES or a big event like that, everyone's trying to get on the Wi-Fi at the same time, and it's a disaster. It's frustrating. It's bad for business as well.
Sure.
So I think that, Wi-Fi is going to be huge because you can generate, like you said, Marlo, anything from a light bulb could generate your Wi-Fi, or even your own device. Your own device, the light that's actually coming from your own device could help you be on the internet. So
how soon can we expect this to go mainstream?
Right now, it's being there's a couple pilot projects that are being happening right now. Mostly in industrial parks right now is where it's at, but I see it happening fast. Definitely within the next couple of years. For sure.
Yeah. It was interesting when I talked to them last year. Their focus was hospitals, which I couldn't get past that. This has far bigger reaching than just hospitals. But I suppose they were looking at places that have to have a lot of information and have to have it quick.
Yeah.
So hospitals, of course, if you're trying to do 3 or 4 or 5 video conferences going on and whatever else is going on in that hospital, it's important. So I suppose that's probably what they were going
Well, it makes
first.
sense that they would go there first.
And they probably have the money to do it.
And then the government would probably want to do it with their people.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody, after the break, we'll continue our conversation with Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino, on what to expect about the lightning-fast internet that's coming to us. So come on back.
Right now, it's 36.
Super Talk 1270, home of the Bismarck Bobcats and high school sports. Listen online or anywhere on the Radio Pub app. Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And if you're listening to us in your office or at home, you can actually hop onto blab.im, and you will actually see us. You can see us in the studio.
I'll see his big smiling face there.
That's right. Woohoo! I'm sitting in the back of the studio. But
he's a happy
Jen
fella.
well. So, of course, Mr. Brian Reinbold's joining us on there, so he handles the blab.im side. I appreciate that, Brian. And I had a question over the break. Is the G4 generation? And that's exactly what it stands for. So if you have a 3G phone, that's 3rd generation. 4G means 4th generation. 5G, 5th generation. So those of you who are wondering what the G stands for, it's nothing more than just the next generation of technology. So joining us on the phone, of course, Miss Metaverse, Katie Aquino. And Katie and I were just talking about the new 5G and as well as Lifi, which is L as opposed to W. So not Wi-Fi, but Lifi, using light. So anyway, so Katie, Google has been testing, I don't know if you know this or not, but they've been testing internet using flying drones. I guess I'm just reading the headline here. So they're using drones to transmit an internet signal, probably to like rural areas and that type of thing. Have you been following this at all?
I did hear that they were working on something like that, and you keep on seeing more and more kinds of experiments, if you will, being done, trying to see how to provide internet to people all over the world. It does seem to be an issue, even in this day and age. So, but I'd love to hear more about it. Is this now that they're using the balloons? Is that the one?
Well, they're actually using drones. So it's actually a solar-powered drone that can stay in the sky. They figure up to 300 days. And, of course, they can. When it comes back down, they can, I suppose, recharge whatever they need to recharge and deploy it. So I would imagine they just have a rotation type of thing that they're going to plan to use. But what I find interesting about this is not so much – now, they're talking about using what's called high-frequency millimeter waves in, like, the 38 gigahertz range. So what that means is that you have – the ability to transmit a lot of data, but it doesn't go very far. So it's like comparing FM to AM radio. FM sounds fantastic when you have it, but it just isn't as far reaching as AM. So you kind of have the same thing here when we're getting up in those higher frequencies. So what I'm wondering, and I'm surprised nobody's really talked about this yet, why wouldn't they move to Li-Fi?
Right. That is a good question. It seems kind of like the obvious, right? Because there's so many benefits, whereas the 5G internet promises anywhere between 10 to 100 times faster internet. Everyone that I've read has said that Li-Fi will provide 100 times more,
right,
functional internet. So clearly there's a huge difference. And even from what you've experimented with, Marlo, it seems that there is no doubt that Li-Fi is a better alternative. So I think it should happen faster. That would be great.
I do wonder, though, that if, in certain atmospheric conditions, I'm thinking about a drone flying 30,000 feet in the air, for example, or higher, okay? So, or a low orbit type of drone that has the ability to have Li-Fi on it. So you could cover, even in the darkness, or during the day, I should say, you would have that ability to transmit. Because it's a frequency of the light spectrum is where this information is being gathered. So you might not even be able to see it, but you'd be able to grab that spectrum. I would imagine very similar to like satellite TV. You get the antenna pointed in the right direction, and all of a sudden you can grab this particular. So I would think that would certainly be possible to do. And I would think that the cost of doing that would be dramatically less too. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there.
Well, I mean, and that's why I mentioned balloons before, because, when you say Google and trying to provide internet to other areas, I don't know if you remember, but a couple years ago, around like 2012, 2013, there was a failed Google project that was called Google Loon, and they were trying to provide internet to areas all over the world that don't get internet using balloons,
Sure.
and it just really didn't take off so much. I know that there are places that are using balloons now, but, like you're saying before, sometimes it's not so good. You get winds, you get other issues. And so drones are a funny kind of alternative. I do like the idea of that, but I think we should just skip all of it, go right to Li-Fi. Li-Fi is just such a cool idea. It's so different, and I mean, I hope that maybe CES 2017, if we can get it going, hopefully we could all have internet next time with Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is how technology progresses, of course. But it is interesting to me that other companies are putting so much time and effort into other types of ways to deliver internet to you when you have this technology that works on light. I just why would you not embrace this unless they just don't know about it yet? I suppose, maybe you and I, we get accused of that a lot on this show, that other tech-based organizations or whatever seem to be 2, 3, 4 months behind us a lot of times with what we're talking about on here. I don't know if we're that far ahead of the curve all the time or what the deal is there, but I just think this makes so much sense. And I just think that you're going to see, especially if hospitals and other industry really grab onto Li-Fi rather quickly, that these other technologies are going to kind of go by the wayside.
Right. I mean, I just read an article recently, I think it was like a day or two ago, and I have it here. It says scientists at the University College of London created a, in quotes, super channel fiber optics. So now people are just working on better fiber optic cables,
Okay.
And it just seems kind of redundant. I mean, really, I'm sure you can get faster internet, but I think that there are better alternatives that maybe perhaps we should be focusing on,
Sure. And of course, when you think about fiber optic, you're talking about light there as well. I mean, all that data is being transferred via light through a cable.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes sense that we'll take it to the next realm now and just deliver data through light that we would use every day.
Exactly. Yep. Just making it better, making it faster. Just
so
putting that focus on it.
So with faster internet, what does that mean to us in the future? Right now we for the most part, at least in this country, if you got 4G or if you have cable internet coming into your place, you have pretty good speed already. But taking it to something that's 10 to 40 to 100 times faster, what does that really mean?
Well, I think like we've been saying before, our homes are becoming smart homes, and we have the Internet of Things where everything's going to be connected to the web. And right now, sure, we have a couple of gadgets and things here and there that are connected to the web, but it does affect your Wi-Fi at home. I mean, I know many of us have up to, let's say, 5 computers running at the same time. It's a lot. It does put a lot of pressure on the web. I mean, it does make it, more difficult. So I think that now we're throwing in virtual reality, you're throwing in VR, AR. You could have your HoloLens, you could have your Oculus Rift, and all this stuff going at the same time. I mean, we're going to have faster internet as everything becomes smart and connected. There's just no other way. We're going to have to evolve. So it's good that there are things coming out there now, like you're saying before, having Wi-Fi or even 5G, some kind of faster internet connection, something, so we can accommodate all these gadgets and gizmos.
So, let's talk about other connected devices that maybe need a very, very high-speed internet connection. And I'm thinking like connected cars, connected drones, connected planes, things that need information that make life and death decisions. Will a faster internet impact that in the future?
Absolutely. I think that having faster internet will definitely make things more improved. I think our health is going to be more improved. Just like we were saying before, smart homes, having things automatically connected. I think that we'll be able to save more lives for sure, having faster internet, being able to be more connected. I think that a lot of things will be able to, even be diagnosed from home in the future as the technology gets there. So I think that it will definitely be improved for sure.
So you're thinking that because of the more and more devices coming on board. So, right now they estimate that we have between 4 and 5 billion devices in the world that are connected to the internet. They figure by 2020 it'll be 20 billion. So another 4 to 5 times more than what we have right now. And most of that is the Internet of Things. So your refrigerator being connected, your heating and cooling being connected, those type of things are going to get connected. So is this progression of faster internet just because we're going to have more devices online, so that offsets the, by having more speed offsets the ability to have more devices?
I think that overall it's going to be improved just altogether. Sure, it's going to help offset some of the issues that could be happening in the future once you have a lot of different gadgets and things connected. But I think overall we are we're going to be in a point where the internet is just extremely fast and it's functional, and we don't have to worry about constantly having to improve it or what the next generation is going to offer. I think we're going to transcend that at one point. We won't even have to worry about it because it'll be fast. We'll have enough to provide for all the needs that we could possibly need. That's the goal, I think. And right now we're kind of in the beginnings of that. People are just starting to have Nest thermostats in their homes and Nest cameras. I know that I have cameras, I have the Nest thermostat, I have all this stuff, and our homes are becoming smart and connected. It's just more things that are going to be, all together and what we have. So I think that it's good to start working on it now.
All right, with that, I guess, happy President's Day, Katie.
Yes, happy President's Day to you, too.
And to everybody else out there, hope you enjoy President's Day. Jim, pleasure as always.
Have a Nixon on me.
There you go. Logan, thanks for being on the show. And we'll see you all again next week.